Today, we're cooking barbecue for Father's Day, and we're going to trick up your favorite barbecue sauce to make country-style pork ribs, no-bake barbecue beans, and this incredible cold noodle salad. Here I've got a package of country-style ribs. They've got these tiny little bones here on the ends, which is great because it leaves us with a meaty portion. As you can see here, 3/4 of this is solid meat, and it's from the lower tenderloin, so you know it's going to be good. I like to hit them with a little bit of kosher salt. And in the last video recipe, I showed you how to make this blackened seasoning. So we're going to go ahead and add that as well. This has smoked paprika, black pepper, garlic and onion powder, and a few earthy ingredients that make this absolutely delish. Just make sure that you season all sides. Hit it again with that kosher salt, and come back again with that blackened seasoning. You can get in there and mix it with your hands if you'd like, but that smoked paprika really likes to stick to the skin, so I like to just give it a good bowl toss. Now just let that marinate and get to room temperature. In the meantime, I'm going to take my favorite barbecue sauce here, and I'm going to go ahead and add some pineapple juice. Give that a real good whisk. Make sure it's completely incorporated. Just like this. Now in a hot pan, I'm going to go ahead and add some olive oil. Now what I'm about to do, you can do outdoors on a grill if you prefer, but not everybody has a grill. But most people have a stove and they have an oven, so we're going to keep this recipe indoor. Just add those ribs right to the skillet. Don't worry about overcrowding in this recipe. Just want to make sure everything gets a good sear. This also helps to render down the fat. You only need to spend a couple minutes on each side. Then you can flip each one of them over. And as you can see, over medium heat, I'm getting some decent color. And we all know color means flavor. And realize that this isn't a recipe that you really have to overthink. When it comes to ribs, there's a few basic rules, a basic formula, that all you have to do is follow to a T, and your ribs will be fantastic. That means from here on out, it is slow and low cooking. So we're going to drop this down to a simmer, and I'm going to pour all of that barbecue sauce in the pan. Now if you're not getting these completely covered, it's a real easy fix. All you have to do is add a little more pineapple juice. But this is also why I don't mind crowding the pan. If it's already full of meat, you don't need as much sauce. Now all you have to do is throw the lid on it and let it cook down for the next hour and a half, checking and turning every 20 minutes or so. And here we are an hour and a half later. I'm going to get in here real quick and show you what these look like. Cross my fingers they don't fall apart. They get so tender. You can cook them longer if you'd like, but anything over 2 hours, you're really asking for it. They'll turn straight into mush. Now I'm going to add them here to a baking pan, but again, you can take these straight to the grill. It's good to caramelize these up a bit. Technically, you could serve and eat them the way they are, but trust me, it's about to get a whole lot better. So I'm just going to take these straight to the oven, and I'm going to cook these at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. And don't you dare throw out that leftover barbecue sauce. There are so many recipes you can use this for, and I'm going to show you how to make either barbecue or baked beans next video recipe. But now, here's the ribs. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. You don't want to miss recipes like this in the future. Just go ahead and serve that on a plate. How many of these do you want? 2? Maybe 3? And there you have it. Country style barbecue ribs right here in the Poor Man's Gourmet kitchen. Thank you for watching, and be sure to stop by PoorMansGourmetKitchen.com for more recipes and exact ingredients. Here I've got a bag of small white navy beans. And the first thing I'm going to do is drop them into a pot and then fill this up with water. Now it's important to do this the night before you want to actually cook your beans. I like to let these soak for at least 12 hours with the water level 1.5 inches to 2 inches above the beans. So I'm going to just cover them up and let them soak overnight. By morning you'll find that they pretty much double in size. And you'll probably find that a lot of the water's been depleted. So you want to just add some more until you've got about 1 inch over the top of those beans. Then you can go ahead and get them covered up, take it to the stove, and start working on bringing this up to a boil. Now I've heard some people like to add baking soda when they're cooking their beans, but I'm just going to add a couple pinches of salt instead. I believe the soda helps tenderize, and of course leaves that salty taste. So if you want to add it, that'll be up to you. After a good stir, you want to just cover them back up and let them simmer for 2 hours. In the meantime, I'm going to add some white onion, bell pepper, and jalapeno to my food processor and just pulse this until it's some fine pieces. You don't want it pureed or turned into a mush. Something like this here is perfect. Now in a hot pan, I'm going to just add some olive oil, then add our chopped onion and peppers right to it. Now if you want to just skip this step, that's fine. A lot of folks like to add their raw ingredients right to the beans when they're stewing. But I like to caramelize the onions and brown the peppers up a bit. It adds more depth to the beans. Now I'm just going to give it a few pinches of salt and a little bit of my blackened seasoning that I filmed here a little while back. This will give it some real nice flavor. And this will take about 20 minutes on the stove to soften and caramelize is all. So you want to do this just before you're ready to strain your beans, which should be about ready by now, so let's check in on those. The texture on these is going to be really firm on the outside, but still soft on the inside. Kind of like undercooked macaroni. But don't worry about it, because they're going to get plenty of cook time when we add all the other flavors. So just strain them out, but save the juice. As you can see, I've got my colander set inside a larger bowl to catch all the bean juice. There's a lot of flavor there, so it's better to add this back into the beans instead of plain water. Now we can just add the beans back to the original pot. Now in the last video recipe, I filmed country style barbecue ribs. And in this recipe, they braised for 1.5 hours in barbecue sauce and pineapple juice. And what you end up with is several cups of leftover barbecue sauce. And I warned you not to throw this stuff out because there are so many recipes you can still use this for, including this baked beans recipe. So here I've got the cold version with a nice fat cap over the top. So all we need to do is give this a good stir. There is so much pork flavor in this sauce, it's going to make these beans amazing. So just go ahead and pour it on in there. And I apologize if you're looking for a from scratch recipe, but any good barbecue restaurant's going to make their beans like this. The drippings from a roast or chicken or rack of ribs is where it's at, not just added bacon. But speaking of which, here's one of those ribs Just going to slice it up into little pieces here that I can add to the beans. Bacon's good, but if you've got some rib meat you can add instead, I highly recommend doing this. The sauce we added already has the pork fat, so this is a meaty bonus. And by now our onions and peppers should be about done. As you can see, it's got some good color. So we'll go ahead and pull this off the stove and add that right over the top as well. Now you want to just get that stirred in. And this is a good time to judge where you're at here in the cooking of these beans. What I mean is, even though I write down the recipe for you guys, this is something you really kind of wing and judge as you go along. So I'm going to add a little bit more barbecue sauce and a little bit more of that bean juice. Just top it off, and my secret ingredient is Southern Comfort. But any whiskey or bourbon will do. I like the SoCo because it's sweet. Plus I buy the 100 proof. So just stir that in real good. Go ahead and cover it back up. And you're going to simmer this for 3 to 4 hours. And you want to stir about every 20 minutes. Now check it out. Whoo-wee! Just look at that color. Not too shabby. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I've got video recipes even better than this. But I promise you, these are the best barbecue baked beans. And there you have it. Barbecue baked beans right here in the Poor Man's Gourmet kitchen. Thank you for watching, and be sure to stop by PoorMansGourmetKitchen.com for more recipes and exact ingredients. One of the things that makes this salad great is garlic. So we're just going to smash this down and chop this up into small pieces. And I like to just add this to a small ramekin, pour olive oil right over the top, add a nice pinch of salt in there. And then when we get this mixed up with the spoon here, we can allow this to marinate during the duration of our preparation of our dish. Another distinct flavor in this recipe is bacon, and I'm going to chop several pieces of this into smaller pieces. And this is perfect. So we're just going to add those to a hot pan and get cooking on that right away. Now we've also got to make our spaghetti, so here I've got a pot of boiling water. I'm going to heavily season it with salt, and we'll go ahead and add the dry spaghetti. In the meantime, I'm going to chop some green onion, dice some Roma tomatoes, and in a food processor, I'm going to pulse some raw broccoli. You don't want this shredded too much. Something like this is perfect. Now we'll add all these fresh veggies to a bowl, followed by some sliced black olives, mayonnaise, and if you're not a fan of mayonnaise, you can just double up the olive oil garlic mix, which we'll be adding now. And you want to make sure you get all that raw garlic in there as well. Now a splash of balsamic vinegar and some fresh grated Parmesan cheese. Now if you don't have fresh, you can get away with using the powder. Just be sure to get everything mixed together till it's nice and creamy. By now our bacon should be about done. Looking pretty crispy. Let's check our spaghetti. Gonna do the old pull test. Maybe a few more minutes. Then I'm just going to add the bacon to the bowl, get that stirred in. Strain the spaghetti. And some folks like to cold shock it with an ice bath, but I'm telling you, that's a mistake. Add it piping hot, right to the bowl, mix it all in like this, so that spaghetti can continue to absorb all those yummy flavors. and it's going to take a few minutes to get it all worked in there. Those veggies need to go all the way through that pile of noodles. You might even conclude you want more mayonnaise if you feel like it's too dry. You can also salt and pepper to taste at this point. Just be sure to refrigerate this the night before, or at least a couple hours in advance before you want to eat it. And there you have it, spaghetti cold noodle salad, right here in the Poor Man's Gourmet Kitchen. Thank you for watching, and be sure to stop by PoorMansGourmetKitchen.com for more recipes and exact ingredients.